So you want to learn how to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4? We came to the right place, my friends, because I've been playing this game since I was very young, since the very first one. Now, am I the best in the world? No. I think I'm pretty good, though, and I think I can hold it down, and I think I can teach you some things to get you guys a little bit better so you can beat your little buddies. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a little insensitive. I assumed you had friends. Maybe you don't. I'm sorry if you don't. But anyways, listen, we're going to jump into this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. This is going to be the first video. It's going to be the basics. We're just going through the basics. In the next video, we'll go into some more advanced stuff, and then, you know, kind of chip away at stuff and build upon the foundation. We got to go really basic. If you already know the basics, then this video might not be for you. Maybe skip to the next one. If you just kind of want a little refresher, then hey, jump into this one. I know you might be young, you might be brand new to the series. Hey, what is this game about? No, you're not going to be shooting anybody, all right? Not every game has to be shooting someone, all right? There's other games to play. And maybe you're just old, okay? You need to wear some glasses. You know, maybe you got some arthritis in the fingers. I feel you, okay? We're not all young anymore. We got some gray hair growing in the beard and the hair. I don't have that anymore, but anyways, let's jump into this. All right, so what I want to start with is the real basics in the menus before we get into the gameplay. We're going to go to the options. This is where you can adjust your sound options. I'm not going to really go into this too much, but if you want to turn any sound effects off or adjust that, you can do that. Gameplay options, you can see the controller layout. Now, go here to familiarize yourself with the controls for your console of choice. I'm on the PlayStation 5, so when I say the X button, don't be pushing the one on the left, push the one on the bottom, okay? I know it's called cross, but I call it X still. I don't know anyone who calls it cross. Anyways, so triangle, if you're on Xbox, is gonna be Y, you know, and if you're on, like, you know, the Switch 2 or maybe some third-party controller on PC, it's gonna be different. Familiarize yourself with the gameplay controls and then just kind of match what I'm showing you. I will have a top-down camera so you can see that. So that's where you can see that. You can turn controller vibration off if you want. You can adjust the wall plant controls. Wall plant's a little bit more advanced. Not super advanced, but a little bit more advanced. And we're gonna talk about that in another one. You can change the view, you know, if you want to change the view low, far, near, or the default, invert the X and Y axes. You can do a bunch of different things there. Display options, fidelity, performance, all that good stuff. Let's not waste any time. Let's go to the skater section because I want to talk about this real quick. This is where you can check out the tricks, you know, set your special tricks. So I like to have the 360 varial McTwist on. It's one of my favorite tricks. Anyways, you can adjust that here. There's all these different slots where you can add some more special tricks. That's a little more advanced. We'll talk about special tricks in another video. But if you do want to adjust that, you're going to be going here. You can check out the trick mappings for all these different tricks, and you can like remap them if you want to. See, there's all these different ones down here that I can adjust. So yeah, you can check the grab tricks, flip tricks, lip tricks, all the different stuff and whatnot. Then we have the stats. Stats are really important. Now, how do you earn stats? Well, right now at the time of recording this, I'm showing you guys all this in the demo because to walk you guys through how to play the game, I don't need to be in the full game. But when the full game comes out, you're gonna find stat points across all the different levels, and you're gonna be able to, you know, increase your stats on whatever skater you're using. If you're using a pro skater, or if you're using a customized skater, so different things like air is gonna be like, you know, your jump height out of the half pipe. It tells you right there. I don't need to explain it to you, but there's things you're gonna want, you know, to be a little bit higher. Manual balance, rail balance is gonna help you kind of, you know, create those, you know, chain those combos and stuff. But again, combos a little bit more advanced. Talk about that in a different one. I just wanted to familiarize you guys with that. So let's go ahead to college because that's where you learn some stuff, and it's a little bit brighter than Foundry. All right, so we got the top-down menu, screen, camera, whatever. Yeah, I got trim my nails a little bit. But anyways, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the basics. Okay, so again, to jump in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, it's called an ollie in skateboarding, and you're gonna press the X button. You can just tap it once. But what I do is I always hold it down. Why do I hold it down? Because as you can see, my skater is going slower, right? My skater is going kind of slow. If I hold it down, then I speed up. So everything's always a little faster. And I'm ready to release that X button at any time, that jump, that ollie button, to go ahead and go boom, and then go into a trick or whatever else. So I always like to have it held down. I like to use the little joint on my thumb here to kind of push onto the X. That allows my thumb to kind of rest on the square button, and then, you know, be able to rotate to the circle or the triangle for the grabs, the flips, the grinds, all that good stuff. So yeah, just kind of, you know, get comfortable with it. So what we're gonna be doing is we're just gonna cruise around, and you're gonna practice two things. I want you to practice two things. First of all, cruise around, just kind of controlling your skater with the stick or the D-pad. You know, there's a lot of D-pad elitists out there that are going to say, hey, the D-pad is the only way to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Listen, you play with whatever you're most comfortable with. Sometimes I swap between the two. I've gotten more comfortable with the stick over the years. I started with the D-pad way back in the day on PS1 because that's all we had. But yeah, just get used to whatever you're comfortable with. Point is, you know, bounce back and forth even. Get a feel for both if you want to. And just feel what it's like to steer your skater, right? And get a feel for that. Now, when we're getting a feel for that, we're also going to start practicing ollies and jumps and get a feel for that. So we're going to, you know, jump onto things, over things, just get a feel. How does it feel? And how does it feel to move my character in the air? Now, if you start moving the left stick or the D-pad, I'm just going to keep saying the left stick, so bear with me. If you move that left or right while you're in the air, your skater is going to do a rotation. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're going to start doing a rotation. So you could do like, you know, a 180. 180 is like if you spin 180 degrees. A 360 if you do a full rotation, spin 360 degrees. That's basically what that means. So just keep that in mind. If you spin, but here's the thing. If I start spinning in the air and I land like this, I'm going to fall. So you want to land to make sure that your wheels are pointed forward. Because if they're not, like in real life, you're going to slam your face on the ground. It's not going to hurt, but your pride's going to hurt. And so we're trying to avoid that. So what I'm going to want you to do is practice jumping and practice steering. So what we're going to do once you get a feel for it is you're going to aim for stuff. Okay, there's this little kicker here. I'm going to aim so I can jump off of that, right? And that's all practice, you know, part of practicing the steering as well. There's like this little kind of ramp here. I'm going to practice aiming up here. I'm going to jump onto this. Maybe I jump into here, you know, just jump around. I know it sounds super basic, but like if you don't get this down, right? The feel, the steering, the ollieing, you're just not going to be good. You're going to suck. And we don't want you to suck. We want you to be great. Okay? So get a feel for that and we can move on to the next section. Next section. All right, we're going to start doing kickflips, grinds, grab tricks, the fancy stuff. Let's start with flip tricks. It's kind of where the thumb naturally rests when you're holding the X button, right? It's just right there. Boom. It's right there. So we're going to hit the square button. It's the one on the left. It's going to be X on Xbox. It's going to be whatever it is. I think it's Y on Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch 1, the Nintendo console. So we're going to hit the square button and flick the left stick or the D-pad in whatever direction you want. So if I flick it to the left, you know, so I'm going to release the ollie first, of course. I'm going to jump, and then while I'm in the air, I'm going to press square and then, you know, push the direction on the left stick or the D-pad in whatever direction, and it's going to do a trick, and that's going to be a flip trick. Now, unlike real life, you don't have to catch the board. You just flick it, and that's it. You're done. Practice doing it in different directions, because when you do that, you're going to have different tricks, right? Hard flips and inward heel flips and all that good stuff. So do that, and once you get used to that, flip tricks are down, and you're comfortable with that. You can also do rotations with the flip tricks, right? You can practice doing that if you want to. It's a little more advanced, but hey, you know, who am I to say that maybe you're not a fast learner? But for the slower learners, let's just take it one baby step at a time and move on to the grabs. Now, what is a grab? You grab the board. It's obvious, all right? You're gonna press the circle button. It's the one on the right, all right? The face button on the right. And then, again, like the flip trick, push the stick or the D-pad in any direction, and you're gonna do a grab trick. Now, if you're doing it on flat ground, that means you're not jumping off of something. Flat ground, we're just on the ground, right? You're gonna release a circle right away. Because if you hold it, the longer you hold it, yeah, your skater's gonna hold it longer, the longer you hold the button, which makes sense. But if you're going off of something like a ramp, we got a ramp over here, then what I could do is I could jump at the top of the ramp, I could hold that grab trick for a little longer, and the longer you hold a grab trick, you can see the points start going up. Hold it too long, you fall flat on your face. All right, so get those grab tricks down. You can do, you know, practice doing them off of things, push those sticks or the D-pads in different directions while you're pressing the circle button. And now you got grabs down. Again, I can't make you better. I can just give you some tips and tricks, and hopefully you get good. Some of us, it just comes natural. Some of us, we're just, you know, you just gotta admit that you're just never gonna be the greatest. But you could be better than you are now, and that's what we're aiming for. All right, so now you got grabs, you got flip tricks. Great, what else? Grinds. If you don't know what a grind is in skateboarding, it's like when you're kind of sliding across the edge of a ledge or a rail or something. could be on any part of your board. See, like this, I'm just grinding across. See? Yay! It's literally, the board's grinding. It's like across something. Do you like my sound effects? Hey, I know, they should hire me for the sound effects, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump onto something and then press the triangle button, or Y, or whatever it is on whatever platform of choice that you're playing as. So, if I'm going towards like this rail, and I jump and I press triangle, right? I can grind. See, I'm grinding. But you'll see that something appears on your screen. What is that thing? It's a balance bar. Now, you gotta have to balance so you don't fall flat on your face. So see that balance bar? You gotta keep it in the center. That arrow in the center. Now, the more grinds you do in a combo, and we're gonna talk about combos in a different video, the more grinds you do in a combo, the more loose that meter is gonna get, and the more you kind of play with it, it gets looser and looser, right? It's like when something is like stuck tight in something, you keep wiggling, like a tooth, and you keep wiggling that tooth, and that tooth gets loose until it falls out. Well, it's the same thing. You keep wiggling that balance bar, and eventually it's gonna get so loose that you're gonna fall flat in your face. You see what I'm saying? So how do you do this? Well, I heard in a cartoon a long time ago, the gentle hand will rule the land, right? So you wanna be gentle, finesse it. All right, now, as you've seen right there, if the kind of balance bar goes on one side, you're gonna fall. Now, if there's a ramp on one side, you're gonna actually fall into the ramp, so you're not gonna fall down. So that's a cool little kind of little trick, I guess, for you, if you will. So like I said, cartoons teach you a lot of stuff. Gentle hand will rule the land. What does that mean? Well, you want to be gentle with the movements for the most part. So you can see, I'm gonna use my D-pad so you can see how I'm pushing the buttons left and right. So I'm just kind of tapping it. Little taps to kind of control it. Now, what you want to do with this is, of course, if it starts going like really loose, you want to maybe hold the direction a little longer, right? So if it's starting to lean too much to the right, hold to the left a little bit longer. And you know, again, it's just those little like, you got to be quick with it. But if you finesse it, it'll be a lot better for you. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure. It's one of those things you got to get a feel for. I think that hopefully kind of explains how to kind of get it, you know, but get a feel for it. You'll see what I mean. Just keep that phrase in mind. The gentle hand will rule the land. Manuals. What is a manual? Well, you're kind of like, it's like a wheelie. You see like I'm doing like a little wheelie. Whee! That's basically what a manual is, but you're gonna have a balance bar just like the grinds, and you're gonna have to balance, but instead of left and right, it's up and down. Now, manuals you do on flat ground. And how do you do this? Well, look, let me press up and down really quick, and then you start a manual. You don't have to jump. I can just do it like this, up, down really quick, and look, I'm in a manual. Now, if you push down, up, you're gonna go into a nose manual. All right, so that's a little fancier, and a different kind of trick, and a little fancier. So this is actually great to practice your balancing and get a feel for the balance, because the grinds, you gotta, you know, the grinds are dependent on a rail. Unless you have a rail kind of going in a circle, or like a bowl or something, it's gonna be harder to kind of do that. Manuals, you can practice a little bit better. Again, it's up and down. Your brain might get confused at first, going left and right to balance and up and down between the grinds and the manuals. But just get into a manual, push that up, down really quick. And again, you could ollie into them, you could ollie out of them, you could ollie back in, right? If you just push up and down before you hit the ground, you'll land into a manual, which is very, very useful for combos, which we're going to talk about in a different video. Don't get ahead of yourself, man. I think that covers the basics. If there's anything I forgot, let us know in the comment section. But again, I just wanted to get you guys familiarized with the basics. Like I said, hold the X button down at all times, and that's going to keep you kind of, you know, rolling at a faster speed and being ready at all times to go into that ollie, to then go into some kind of trick, and then we can start learning how to, you know, do advanced tricks and then combos and get some big points to get you some big scores that impresses all of your friends. All right, thanks for watching this one. I'm gonna just keep comboing here, and if you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you guys soon in another one. Till then, my friends, game on. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you get a little bit better and get the fundamentals down with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4.